and welcome to Series 3 of my podcast Innervation, where we get to hear stories and experiences of incredible women from diverse backgrounds and perspectives in science and technology. Our conversation gives us insights into some fascinating innovations, but we also get to relate. Here on Innervation, I give women a platform to be heard and seen because this exact conversation is also in video format on YouTube. And honestly, every single episode is inspiring and uplifting in some way, shape or form, because we hear about what they've learned along their life's journeys, both personally and professionally. This week, I talked to Dr. Aparna Kayathi, who is a chemical engineer.
My name is Aparna. I am from India. I have completed my graduation and post-graduation in chemical engineering. Recently, I have completed my PhD in chemical engineering from RMIT University, Melbourne. Presently, I am working as a process engineering scientist at Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, India. So, this is regarding me.
Wow. So, why did you decide to go into chemical engineering?
So, initially, this was during my plus 2 days. I was interested in maths and science subjects, and I was more inclined towards chemistry at one point of time. So that eventually led me to choose chemical engineering. But later on during my undergraduation, I realized that it is much more than chemistry and what it sounds like.
So chemistry and chemical engineering and even engineering is not something that girls typically choose. Why did you decide that engineering was the right thing for you?
So initially it was my inclination towards chemistry, and I was also interested in designing aspect. So engineering basically means the designing and solving the problems. After joining chemical engineering, I have realized that apart from chemistry, it involves process and upscaling of the process that occur in chemical industries. So that was very fascinating, and it led me to continue my higher degree of research.
So what's it like being a girl or a woman in chemical engineering? Because usually engineering is seen as quite a male-dominated subject. So, I mean, was it unusual for you in India to be going into a subject, or is it quite normal?
Yeah, as you said, it is the gender issue still exists in this field. But I was lucky enough that I got enough female people inclined towards this chemical engineering, and I have my own friend circles who has supported me that we can pursue the higher studies and we can opt for higher roles and responsibilities in an industry. So I can say that I have the support system, let it be family and friends. I got the circle that made me choose and continue in the chemical engineering field.
So it's really unusual to see a woman excelling in scientific academia. To do a PhD and all these things is, it's pretty, it's not the norm. It's not conventional to see a woman excelling in these fields. What has it been like for you personally to be working towards building your career? Like, has it been difficult? Has it been easy? Take me on the journey of your experiences in getting your qualifications.
Yeah, so it all started with, firstly, during my undergraduation, I had my family support, like my parents, my friends, everyone was there. And I was not in that way of thinking that it is only gender specific. I had a broad way that anyone can do anything. So when I started continuing higher degree, like post graduation and PhD, I have realized that it is more gender specific, because being a woman and staying in a chemical industry, people people usually prefer men in shop floor, unlike women. But there are instances where women also performed at shop floor. So I have seen the right way of it, and everyone around me, especially my family, friends, they have supported me, and they have made me realize that despite gender bias which exists in an industry, you can still, if you continuously perceive it, if you are being focused and perseverant, we can achieve the whatever role we dream for. So that has made me continue and face my challenges. Everyone has their own challenges. I have also faced many challenges. So I had so many emotional breakdowns as well during this journey. So I lost my father, and he was very inspiring for me. Like, he always motivated me to continue anything in education. Like, you can continue and achieve anything. That is what, that kind of emotional support system which he has provided, I don't want that to be given up. So I have continued, and luckily I have achieved what I really dreamt of.
Sorry, hold on. Ooh, that's... No,
Sorry.
No, I'm getting quite emotional because, first of all, I'm really sorry to hear that you lost your dad. Wasn't expecting this. Hold on. I'm really sorry to hear that you lost your dad, because one of my questions was going to be how much you were driven by your parents, because I have a Sri Lankan heritage, and you being from India, I was going to ask you just how much sort of cultural pressure there was to get an education, and because for me, my own personal story is that I have been very driven by my parents, particularly my dad. Do you feel comfortable talking about that, or would you rather not?
Yeah, definitely. Like, it is a part of me, so I'm very much. I'll look forward to talking to it. Like, see, considering the fact and community and family that I come from, it is very startling to be at 28, sit at home and study. People will have all sort of questions, and there are uncertainties which we face as an individuals. So since my childhood, my father and mother, they have supported me, irrespective of what people had said, anything, that a girl's education is not that equally important as of men's education. But still, my mom was very stubborn enough to get us what we want, and my dad followed her. So he has provided what we need. That was the initial foundation, I can say, that was very strong. And uh, throughout my journey, I felt that whatever sacrifices they have made, so I should not, whatever foundations they have given me, the strength, courage to continue and carry forward. So that I maintained throughout my education journey, like carrying out post graduation, and I was trying for a PhD admission. I have failed a couple of times to get admitted into the chemical engineering PhD. But still, I didn't give up and I accepted my failures. I have improved my strengths, and that made me finally get an admission. And later on, I have tried to understand and learn the skill sets required for the subject that helped me carry out my PhD in a focused way. So that is my journey. And I can say that my parents, my mom, my dad, so both were very strong enough and to get me what I want. And that made me continue. That is what I feel. So this is my story.
Yeah, I mean, your parents sound amazing. And it sounds like they really were behind you every step of the way. In my journey of talking to lots of different people from all kinds of different backgrounds, I've really observed the importance of the support and encouragement you get from an early age. And that can be from parents, it can be from relatives, it can be from friends, it can be from caretakers. You know, it doesn't have to be your biological parents that influence you. It can be just people who are there in your life when you're young. Is it really unusual and unconventional for your parents to be so encouraging? Because it certainly was very different for me. My parents needed me to get a good education because they were living in the UK and had come from other countries. So my parents really needed their kids to have a good education so that they could have a good future life. What was the expectation driven by with regards to the way you were raised, and why was it so important for you to get this amazing education?
It is initially for my future, irrespective of my family needs. They want a bright future. Being a girl, they know the difficulties that the country they are living facing. And education is a huge step, and we can change our future with the education. So if we go in a right direction, we can get a future, we can be financially independent. That they know, that base they had. My mom is just a homemaker. She has just a matriculation pass, 10th pass. That is what they usually say. And my father also, he's a clerk in an government institute. But they somewhere felt that education can change life, and they firmly believed in that. I don't know what they have seen in their life, and so that they tried to install in us, me and my sister. Like both, we got good education. Like my sister is a doctor, and they continued me in this research field. So I don't know, some instances in life will uh, make your parents believe in. They have believed very firmly, and during our journey also, somewhere we also find few instances where we felt that education can change our way of thinking. It can break the whatever hurdles we are facing. Like we have our own hurdles going on in your mind. So with the education, you can just broaden your view. We can find the possibilities, find the opportunities. We can able to face the challenges. So that kind of right attitude, I think education can build up over the period of time. That can be improved. I I do not say that success will come at one step. It is a journey, but education will provide a pathway to the journey. We have to believe in our dreams, and That is what I strongly feel.
I mean, you come from a culture which has the stereotypical reputation that it suppresses women or subordinates women. I mean, I may be completely wrong, but I am assuming that your culture believes that women are less than men. Have you come across this? And what is it like for a PhD in chemical engineering to climb above this stereotype, if it does exist?
Yeah, this is we are historically disadvantaged section of society that is there. We know the problem and we know the solution also. That is what I understand. If we are staying in that problem, we can analyze the solution over the period of time. So even though there is a suppression in our society, we also find ways to overcome it. We can think it very liberally. So I feel that thinking will change your perspective and will provide you different pathways. So education, like being getting a higher education, will eventually provide a platform. That is what I feel, like to perform in an industry, to perform with ongoing what the market needs, world market needs. So the main platform will be your education, your skill set, and that can be honed with your level of research skills or else what is required for the current industry trends. We can analyze it and we can get those skills, and whatever the suppressing, everything can be overcome once we find a right platform.
So what are your dreams for the future? Where do you want to see your life in 5 or 10 years?
Currently, I'm working in a pharma industry. Like, I feel that India has a huge potential in pharma, and because of this COVID outbreak, we have seen how the world is facing shortages in vaccines, drugs. There is hoarding of vaccines. So I see myself in that, in providing like enough number of vaccines and drugs. Like I should be able to contribute my research in that field so that we will be self-sufficient in whatever we are doing. So it will be my limited contribution. So I just see myself in 10 years, like in the development of vaccines and drugs, and where I can apply my research.
You mentioned earlier that you have faced a lot of challenges. What have those challenges been, and what have you learned from them, which you can share with other young women trying to build their careers?
So at different stages, like during my undergraduation, so there was a personal challenge as my father was having a breakdown. He got a stroke. But somewhere that emotional system from the family to continue my studies. I have my friends have helped, my parent, like my family has helped me to continue that studies. And later on, I have joined in masters. So after getting admission, I again faced, like, it's more personal than academic challenges for me in my case. Then later on, like during my after my post graduation, I worked for 4 years in an autonomous R&D center where I worked on fuel cells. So during that journey also, getting a admission in a PhD, so that was very difficult. Shifting from industry to academic, that was very difficult. I applied to some n number of colleges, I got rejected. because they need some specific requirements to pursue PhD in chemical engineering. So, like continuously, it took me 4 years to get a PhD admission. So after 4 years of industrial experience, when I got the PhD, then it was entirely a different topic. I was working in different field. Previously, I was working in fuel cells. Then I changed into something which is useful in pharma industries, food industries. So switching was very difficult. But what I have learned from my peers and my supervisors was very helpful. People are very helpful around you. Like if you find the right people, they will try to help you out. So they continued giving full support, like academically, emotionally. So, and COVID happened during my PhD. COVID happened. That was also a barrier. We were doing online classes. So, what I can say that, and I was also infected with COVID during my thesis admission. So there will be many hardships. Everyone will face their own hardships. But I can also say that you will have your own ways. You have to figure it out. Some days are very hard to think about solutions, but you should take one day at a time sometimes. And you should have that hope that one day, whatever problems, you will find a solution to the problems, like one problem at a time. Take one problem at a time. So that is what I feel, and everyone will definitely face challenges, but be fearless, have slight hope, and you work on your strength and weaknesses. You should own your failures. That is what I feel that will help anyone to continue whatever they dream for.
Well, I feel like that's a really beautiful way to end our conversation, because this podcast and YouTube series is for people who have an inclination towards science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But I feel that talking to you today has really shined a light on the fact that everyone, no matter where they come from, no matter what they have or don't have, we're all going to face personal challenges, some big and some small. But no matter what, it has really been inspiring to listen to you, because throughout all those challenges, it sounds like you've always kept following your dreams, and you've never stopped believing in what you can contribute to the world. And it's just so motivating to see someone keep going, through it all. You just keep going. And I want to thank you for your contribution to chemical engineering, because it's really wonderful to see a woman excelling in this field. And I wish you all the best of luck with what you're doing. And thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you, Shiny. It was a pleasure talking to you. It was during my PhD. Like, I used to see your crash course, and see, when I was doing my PhD, I used to always feel that I want to simplify whatever the big thing. And I used to see that crash course of PhD and how you have simplified in 5-10 minutes and get a big view. So somewhere I felt that this is what we have to do. We have to make things simpler rather than complexing it. And that is how I got inspired by you. I followed you, I connected with you. And I feel that at any point of time, like few people, few instances will give you such kind of upliftment which you need. And thank you for your time.
Well, you've done that for us today, because you are an example of someone who is just doing life on life's terms. And, you know, it is so simple to accept the way life is and keep showing up for life no matter what, even if it gets tough, even if it becomes impossible, or you face challenges that you feel like you can't overcome. You know, you spoke like a true engineer, saying you just keep going. You know, there is a solution. I mean, engineers are real problem solvers, and that seems to be your solution, to never give up hope. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you and listen to you today.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thanks for listening, and please do subscribe to this podcast and maybe even rate and review it if you can. The more ratings and reviews, then the more interest from those trusty algorithms, which could help to increase the reach of this show. And you can watch the video recording of this conversation on YouTube on my new series called Esteemed. It's all about self-discovery, self-evolution, and inclusivity on innovation. Let's all strive to be in the best versions of ourselves and celebrate others being themselves too. As always, be kind and loving, and I wish you all a great week.